Hello, everybody, and a pleasant Monday evening on this last couple days of summer before the school year starts. We know some schools are already in session, and the last of it starts tomorrow. So, what a way to close out the summer to tune into your favorite show, Rams Talk, here
Yes,
on
sir.
YouTube. Of course, you see Jesus Maya. You see Jesus Maya. I am Edward Rientaso. We welcome you to another episode of our great show. We want to thank everyone that's been listening and subscribing and just following us a lot. We really appreciate it. And partner, we hit the first chapter of the season. The preseason is in the books.
Yes, sir, partner. We getting closer to that football season. We're less than 2 weeks away. So I'm just excited. I'm hype about our Rams and how we did during the preseason. So we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, we got some certain things to talk about, but we're gonna go and kick off this program talking about this past Saturday. The Rams closed the preseason in Cleveland. They went down by a score of 19 to 17. Sten Bennett did not start. There was another starter for Los Angeles. It looks like it was quarterback
Right.
Dresser Wynn. Most of you may have seen him in the UFL this past season. He signed on as a free agent with the Rams and didn't get much playing time in the preseason, but he had an opportunity to show off some talent here in this final game of the preseason before we get to tomorrow's deadline of the 53-man roster cut. But part of let me ask you this: what's your thought on Dresser Wynn? Did you think it was fair that he got this opportunity, or was he like lacking that he didn't get to play much in the first two games?
Well, coming into this game, I thought they were gonna give Stetson Bennett another chance, but I'm not too surprised about it because they're keeping Stetson Bennett healthy because he did great the first two couple games. So I'm excited they gave another quarterback a chance, which is Dresser Wynn. And I believe he started out kind of sluggish, but he got into the groove at the end and he did a pretty good he had a pretty good stat line, but overall I liked it and I loved what he did around the O line as well
It
behind them.
was uh it was actually nice to see them wear the home colors this preseason. As the last two games, they pretty much were wearing the away jerseys, or I think last week they wore the home jerseys, but they went
Yeah.
all puff blue with the yellow stripes. But again, Rams went down 19-17. A lot of observations from this game, so we're gonna go and get to it. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Dresser Wynn and running back Jordan Waters, and then Terrence Ferguson made his debut. So we're gonna start off
Right.
with Mr. Ferguson here. He got his first action this preseason, the second round pick. He's been actually sidelined for most of
Yeah.
camp with a groin injury, which we've reported here before.
Mhm.
And then he got to return to practice this week. Got us some playing time, finished with two catches for um,
Three.
48 yards, and it looks like he actually would have had more. But the problem was he stepped out of bounds, so that touchdown
Yeah.
pass didn't count. So that was a little
Yeah, I seen
devastating
that.
there.
I seen that play, brother, and I was hyped as you could imagine me. But he stepped out of bounds. But that could have been a great 60-yard, 67-yard catch. But they did limit him, as you could finish the sentence.
Yeah, but it was nice to see him out there despite the injury. He's fought a lot, and honestly, partner, I believe he should at least be a fair candidate for the 53-man roster, if not a developmental squad where he can actually help the wide receivers in practice throughout the season, and maybe have an opportunity to make it to the main roster. So this is one guy I would definitely want to keep.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna take Tyler Higby's spot. Tyler Higby has been with us through thin and thick. We had him. We signed him. It's been more than 5 years, and I believe Ferguson is gonna take his spot with his athleticism and his height, his speed, his blocking. But ended up giving him only 20 snaps during this last preseason game, which just to get him adjusted on the field because that groin injury is tough to manage. But he's young and he'll be all right, and we'll have him as our tight end this year. See something
Yeah, so
good.
it was good to see him out there. As we go to our next moment here, our second point, which is the reserves. Defense got to run against the first team offense again for the second week in a row. They were pretty much out there, similar to last week against the Chargers. They opened the game going after Joe Flacco. Many of these guys played Joe Flacco 2 years ago in the season, in a season game at SoFi Stadium that was won by the Rams. And again, that was the time where Flacco was just picked off the streets, and he just came in and took the Browns to the playoffs 2 years ago. But still there in Cleveland. Many of you don't know this, but he's the only guy in his, or he's one of those players in history to play for both the new and the old Cleveland Browns. Remember, he was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, who were the former Cleveland Browns, and then he goes and plays with the new Cleveland Browns. So how about that?
Well,
Little
that's a
piece of
crazy.
history there.
There you go. Nice. And yeah, so Joe Flacco is gonna be their number one quarterback this season. So I'm kind of surprised about it, but at the same time, no, because they're gonna learn the rookie quarterbacks are gonna learn from him much.
Well, Joe Flacco is getting up there in age. He's in his late 30s, almost 40s, and he doesn't have much left in the game. This could probably be the last season he plays in the NFL again. There wasn't a lot of interest in him this past off season. Of course, the last team he played prior to Cleveland was the Jets. They figured they would keep him after the Aaron Rodgers situation, but they ended up letting him go for Rodgers. So we saw how badly that went, and then Cleveland picked him up. This is his second stint in Cleveland, so you wonder if this is going to be it, and if he can play through the whole season. As we see here that he actually had a 3-and-out on his first possession, and then on the second possession he threw a 15-yard pass to tight end Harold Fannin Jr. And then he only played 3 series. It was 3-and-outs. So I mean, he had a little bit of playing time there, but not a very impressive performance by Joe Flacco, to tell you the truth.
And I love this picture right here of our defense showing up and going for the tackles. Can't let it. You get one man, get two man, get three men on that body, and bring that man down. But I love how our defense went 2 straight weeks versus the first team offensive for the Browns and the Chargers. So I like it.
But it's nice to see that the defense is actually getting tuned up. So that's going to be a good sign for Chris Long's defense, or Chris Shula's defense. I'm sorry. Let's go to our third moment. And again, this is about the reserves. This time the offense got to run against the first team defense in this game. And
And I
just like the Rams defense, looks like Cleveland's defense was playing with some of their starters for the season. So how big
yeah.
of a risk was that?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of teams are playing their full starters, but the Rams are just relaxing. I think we're ready though. I think we're ready, but I did see a good couple plays by the Rams offensive side. Stoops, who's a wide receiver, he did amazing catches, and this shown on the picture, which is Waters, a runner back who did pretty solid this last week versus the Browns. We're too stacked to be honest. So it's gonna be hard getting that 53-man roster tomorrow when it's announced around 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here as we go on to fourth uh, our fourth point, which is the quarterback, Tristan Wynn. Again, this guy came from the UFL, played under Memphis, signed in the offseason. And after Stetson Bennett led the team in their first 2 games, Sean McVay decided to give Dresser Wynn a chance at being quarterback. Did good things there. We'll say that. He had a 33-yard pass.
After 4 empty possessions, that's how I thought he was gonna have that type of game the whole game, but after that he did complete a great pass to Ferguson, which contributed and got him in the rhythm, which I liked.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see that too, partner. I was very surprised, but I was surprised too that Stetson Bennett wasn't going to finish out the preseason because it looked like he was on intent to finish it out.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, but it's okay. That means we're keeping them healthy and we're keeping them ready, to be honest, just in case anything happens with Stafford or anything, even though he's back, but you still gotta be ready in that quarterback position. So I'll give Dresser Win
As
his
you see, also he
props.
you also see here he also led a drive on a touchdown pass to Drake Stoops to get them within 3, and then they put him ahead late in the first half with running back Jordan Waters' 2-yard touchdown run. And then you see Wynn's final stats. He went 15 of 23 for a buck 91, 1 touchdown and no interceptions. So I mean that's a big win for him.
Yeah.
But do you believe he's done enough here in his one game to get it on the 53-man roster, or maybe the development squad, or is this maybe like an audition for him for another
Yeah.
team?
I believe this is a audition for him and other teams to see if he has a future in the NFL. I think he did pretty solid. He started off kind of rough, but he got adjusted to the to the environment and he got it done. And somebody who came from the UFL, you mentioned he came from the UFL?
Yeah, he came from the UFL. He already had a season prior to this.
Right.
So if he does sign with another team, it's gonna keep going. I mean, this guy is fresh. It's not an off-season thing like the majority of the players. The majority of the players that were picked up in the off-season were from the UFL. So these
Mhm.
guys are coming in with already football mentality under their belts. Question is, can they stay healthy? But I
Yep.
mean, I think Wynn played well. He didn't turn the ball over. He only missed 8 passes. He kept the team in on the with the lead
I
in
think
the
he would have
late in
won
the
it.
half, but I just don't think that he made enough
I,
observations from the coaching staff to stay on this roster. I'm gonna have to agree with you. This is an audition for him to see if anyone gets picked up. I mean, we've seen the quarterback situations in the NFL. You guys go down, you need backup guys, and I mean this is like an audition tape for him. So let's see if again we don't know if he's gonna be on a team or not, but we just don't think he did enough. But again,
and I
we'll see how it goes.
And I believe he could have won the game for the Rams because we were up, but our defense kind of lacked it. I have a slide of it later in this presentation of we gave a big 25-yard penalty in which the Browns ended up hitting a field goal to win it. But we'll get next to PowerPoint number 5. Our defense, man. If it's our second string, third string, one string, our defense is loaded and ready. What you think, partner?
And partner, that brings us to our fifth and final point here. The last point is the defense. As you see here, 6 sacks, but again, penalties is what's really hurt the defense in that game. It led them to lose, so that's something they're going to have to work in practice this week. Because even in the regular season, you cannot commit penalties late in the game. That's going to give the team momentum.
Yeah, and this is crazy. We got 5 sacks against the hype
Yeah, those are like winnable
100.
stats right there as well.
Yeah, and I love these pictures, man, of our defense just going after anybody who has the ball. I love it. It's not just one guy, two guys, it's two, three at the same time, not just one. So I love our defensive side. And there's a player who didn't play this last game. He was a linebacker. I think we're gonna sign him to the 53-man roster. But yeah, man, our defense is locked and loaded, partner. We're ready.
Yeah, they are, and we're looking forward to that. Again, the season is just less than 2 weeks now as we count down to Houston, and
Yep.
which brings us to our next portion here on the program, which is the latest transactions, and this is today, prior to us going on the air. This is what's happened so far. You see the names here. These are I believe, part Jesus. These are the players that have been waived and released.
Right. As of yesterday, going into tonight to get more people into that to fit in that 53-man roster. From all these guys who catches my eye, what you think? I knew Dresser Wynn was gonna get waived, like we just talked about the last couple slides. I think this was an audition for him. Did anybody else catch your eye?
Yeah, partner Sean. No, I mean, we knew Wing's gonna be on that list. We felt like I just thought he didn't put enough. He only had 1 game, which I guess the writing was on the wall. But I mean, Sean McVay was asked today about players that were close to making his roster. So this is what he had to say in his press conference today.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't hear it, partner. We can't hear it.
Yeah, I think you just mentioned it. And I
There
think
you
the
go.
important thing is real clarity with the feedback. If you care about these guys enough, you want to be honest with them. You want to have the appropriate empathy and tone, but the first thing we always try to do is make sure that there's an appreciation and gratitude for the work they put in. If this means this is the end of the journey for now with us. And then I think you want to be able to provide real feedback of, okay, here are some things that we think, and shit doesn't mean that I'm always right, but we try to do best for these guys of trying to provide tangible feedback of what allows them to be able to move forward in the best positive manner. And so I think that's really important. I think clarity is a gift for people, and I think it can be a force multiplier. And I think leaning into some of those hard conversations with the right tone, the right appreciation is what we want to really be able to try to do. And I think it's so important for us to do that. And that's what we'll try to, try to be able to thread the needle appropriately. I thought it was really, such a class act of the way that the 11 guys we sat down with yesterday handled themselves. It's a really cool reflection of the way that these players have poured into their teammates, the feedback I got from them yesterday. And then there's going to be some hard conversations tomorrow, but those are the difficult parts of this job. And I think you owe it to them to, establish an appreciation, but also an honesty of, why are we in this position and how can you move forward positively?
Again, special thanks to the Rams for that clip. If most of you are not aware with Hard Knocks, I don't know if you seen the show Hard Knocks, partner.
Yeah,
they actually do show. I'll give you an example. So on the last day before roster cuts, the whole day of the segment, or the whole day of the final episode of Hard Knocks, is pretty much cutting the players down. They're getting down to that 53-man roster. So the whole day, you're seeing players getting called to the offices. The one thing the minute they tell you, bring your playbook, you know what that means.
damn. Yeah. It must be hard for the team to do that, and at the same time, it's kind of, especially if they did great, like some players did. Like Justin Wynn, you gotta give
But
him.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we signed Justin Wynn if like any emergency happens with our main quarterback and Jimmy. I wouldn't. I could see him resigning with us, but as of now, nah. I think he'll go with another team who needs that second stringer, third stringer quarterback ready, and he just showed it out versus the Browns.
we've seen well we I've seen, as watching this game for a long time, I've seen coaches really come on and say, they wanted to like have more, they have a bond with these players. They
Yeah,
have a relationship with these players, but just not enough time to get them well developed. And this is not their call. This is a business transaction. This is a business. That's what everyone needs to understand. This is not a personal thing, cutting players. This is a business. They want the 53 guys that will help them win a championship. Teams like
right.
the Rams, teams like the Chiefs, teams like the Ravens, teams like the Steelers, teams like the Eagles, teams like the Patriots and Buccaneers. These teams won Super Bowls before, and they have a formula on picking the best players to win that championship. So you look at teams like that, they know what they have to do. Now you look at other teams like the Jets, or teams like the Browns, or teams like the Bengals, or the Chargers, and to put up there, let's say the Washington Commanders. Yeah, those are teams that won it in the past, but lately nothing. So they're trying to develop something. They want to find the best guys out there. And look, sometimes you'll get rid of a guy that was good, but you had to cut him. I mean, I'll give you an example. Danny Woodhead, he was drafted by the Jets. He was a running back, but they cut him because of his size, his inability to have speed. Guess what? He ended up going to the Patriots, went to the Super Bowl, but never won a Super Bowl. But he had that taste. Went to the Chargers. So, and I'll use this quote by Coach Brian Billick, who was a Ravens coach. It's like you're trying to avoid cutting a Johnny Unitas because you don't want a Johnny Unitas signing with another team and they win it, and then you're kicking yourself in the ass. And by the way, I know Sean McVay, Coach McVay said like a little expletive there, so we do apologize for that. But that's the issue here. You're letting go a good player, which could be a good player in the future. So
That's the
that's
thing.
why these coaches like take time. They have meetings. They hold meetings for hours the same day just to like get the roster ready. So it's a tough situation right now, not just with the Rams but everybody else.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if any good names that did very, very well in the preseason get waived tomorrow and don't make that 53-man roster. But the next,
Remember training camp started with 83 players. They got to get to this roster fast because the season's about to start. It's
yep,
never easy.
and tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time, we'll find out who makes the roster and who's ready for that season with the Rams in that blue gold
Yeah,
uniforms.
stay with Ramstalk because we will post the updates on the
Yeah.
roster situation. But this transactions were affected yesterday, so this was before we went on the air today. These were the final,
Yeah.
the first of many releases and waves. So
Well, today,
again,
partner, we seen a crazy wave, a great player who led the preseason in sacks, and we'll get to it as we're talking about him right now.
yeah, and I mean,
Brandon
I
Jackson.
also heard like yeah, and I also heard like one of Deion Sanders either was his kids or brother or nephew was with the Tampa Bay Bucks. He was released yesterday because he got ejected in the last game for throwing the
Oh
punch.
yeah.
So I mean, you know how serious it is.
No, yeah, you can't be punching in the preseason on your first play. It's like, nah. But I'm kind of iffy about this wave, releasing this 2024 fifth round pick, Brandon Jackson. But does this make you say that stats don't really matter in the preseason?
It's a combination of both. I mean,
Yeah, I
also
agree.
they're not looking at what you do in practice. I'm
Right.
sorry,
In the
I
game.
just killed my statement, but I'll just say it again. It doesn't matter what you do in the games as well. They look
Mm.
at the games, but they look at your preparation. They look
Right.
at what you do in practice. They look at what you do in the drills. Are you listening? Are you understanding? Are you asking questions? Are you learning from your mistakes? Are you letting your mistakes get the best of you, or are you letting the mistakes not distract you? Because it's a mentality game too. You cannot mope if you miss a catch. Can't mope if you jump off sides or you hit the wrong guy. No, you gotta get up and get back and regroup. And that's what coaches see. Coaches will tell you right there. They have what it takes to get in to be in this business. Because again, not everybody can play football. You can put up your shoulder pads and helmets and go out there and knock somebody on their ass, but at the same time, can you do that for 17 games and can you do it for 63, 53 or 50, 60 minutes?
Yeah. That's intense. But you're right with that. I agree with you on that one. That's for sure.
And
like
then,
a
partner, I do want to play a clip here. Coach McVay was asked today about making these 53-man roster cuts. So let's see what he had to say
let's do it.
about that.
Yep, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, today's practice, it kind of confirmed, but this was the last physical evaluation that we had until we have to make cuts until tomorrow. But yes, I do know what our 53 is going to be. No, he's good. He's going to partake in next Monday's practice, Wednesday and Thursday, and then he'll just do the jog through stuff on Friday. So it's really cool. I think we've got a good plan in place. Again, that is something, whether you talk about Matthew's back or the thing with Alaric, that I certainly have never dealt with before. So I think that demands, flexibility, but we feel really good. I mean, he has put so much work in. I think he's handled it like a total stud.
And I know subject was changed. It went from that to Matthew Stafford. So we'll talk about Matthew Stafford in a bit here, but he already knows who his 53-man roster is, partner. It's safe to say that it's not going to be with Brendan Jackson, which is really shocking. But I mean, do you agree that it is a tough decision to let go of players, knowing that you got the best players, but you just don't have room for them?
McVay's first statement caught me like not by surprise, but they said they're gonna still do physical evaluations before they made that 53-man roster. I think that's key as well. Like you mentioned, you gotta play every game of the season from 17 to 18 games, 60 minutes, put in all your effort. So I like that. But I believe McVay has always been a great, smart coach, and I agree with all he said. They have everybody pretty much they have the 53-man roster ready. and we're gonna have we're gonna find out tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and again, we'll have updates in the evening. We'll let you know how that officially went on as we continue to move on here in the program. But yeah, this was a shocking one here. Fifth round pick Brennan Jackson is going to be released, so he will not be on this 53-man roster, which is shocking.
Yeah.
So we hear Sean McVay talk about Matthew Stafford and his injuries, or his back situation. One of the developing stories that we talked about before we went on the air, there's still uncertainty if whether he'll play in the opener against Houston. So they're preparing Jimmy Garoppolo as a contingency plan in case he doesn't go. But the offense is starting to come around Stafford. So let me ask you this question. Will this offense struggles if number 11 is in instead of number 9?
I don't think so. Jimmy has been playing the first offensive drill since the first day of training camp when Stafford was announced that he had just a minor back injury, but that started increasing to more missing practices. And I think Jimmy's ready. He's been in the playbook for years with the Rams, and the weapons he has, how you can't with the weapons he has the ability to do that. So I wouldn't be too too shocking if I see Jimmy play the first week because we just got an update by the Houston Texans. Their superstar Joe Mixon is not going to be playing the first couple games. So that's an advantage on our side for the defensive side. But Jimmy, I believe in Jimmy. I believe in Stafford. I actually even believe in Stetson Bennett if he gets the opportunity.
And partner Coach McVay was asked about Stafford's performance on practice. Here's what he had to respond to it.
Good, good, did a good job. Full participant again, so we're in good shape. It's gonna be the same answer. Yeah, I mean, and I mean that too. I mean, he's doing great. He's 100% participant. He's doing a heck of a job, taking care of himself with a lot of different things. As soon as we get off the grass, and Reggie have a great plan, but I can't see into the future. But I certainly, if you look at what the last week has entailed, feel really good. And there's nothing that would lead me to believe, unless we have an unforeseen setback, that he's not going to be ready to roll against the Texans.
He's got confidence on his quarterback, Jesus. Let me ask you this. Do you have confidence in number 9 that he'll be on there week 1?
I'm confident, but I want to say another thing Sean McVay said. Like you mentioned, he doesn't have a decision yet on Matthew Stafford, and likely won't until next week. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's ready. He's been in three straight practices. He's getting into that form. Today he connected with his offensive side. I think they still got to work a little bit on defensive side, but they'll be ready for the defensive side. But I want to do a little update on Allard Jackson, our offensive line. He continues to upload his workload as the team works on his return. He's expected fully back next week, but a decision regarding it is still has to be made because blood clots are very dangerous. So we want him 100% healthy, and for him to back up Stafford in that O line would be very key. And one more side note. So Jimmy was playing on the offensive side, and he was playing a lot with his second stringers, wide receivers like Xavier Smith, who got a big play in today's practice, and you can't forget Puka and Devontae Adams. So we're ready, partner. We're ready.
Indeed, and we did. We've heard from Coach McVay. We also gave our points here. And again, guys can comment here on our YouTube channel. What do you think? Will Stafford be ready to go? Do you have confidence that he'll go? But one more question before we move on to our next topic. How much of a pressure it is for the offensive line? Because I know they're going to be under a lot of pressure knowing that this guy's back is not fully healed. They're going to have to protect him so hard from vicious hits because you look at the defenses this team's playing. You got defenses like the 49ers. You got defenses like the Seahawks. You also have other defenses in the NFL that they're playing, even Tampa Bay. And again, Philadelphia, you still have to play that team. So it's a very, very tough situation right now. Unless he heals throughout the season, let's not forget one vicious hit in the right spot
Could cause
can hurt
damage.
a season.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jimmy has to be ready, in which I think he'll be ready. But Stafford, yeah, we gotta just protect him in that O line because we're still getting our O line healthy with Alex Jackson and the others step it up and just protect Stafford. But I think that gives them a little pressure on the O line for sure, knowing that.
Yeah, we'll still keep you posted on Stafford's condition, but it seems that he's looking good in practice, which is a good sign. Uh, Participating in the last half of this training before the season starts. As we move on here on the program to our next topic.
As we were talking a little bit about it, but let's, that Stafford Puka Devontae Adams connection is gonna be deadly. I think it's gonna be one of the deadliest uh quarterback wide receiver duels in the league. What you think, partner?
Well, I mean, we saw Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup last year. Puka Nakua also took over Cooper Cup's role of being the deep receiver, going downfield. I think the scenario is going to be different here. I believe Devontae Adams is going to be asked to do a little bit more here, because again, Puka Nakua was injured last year, so he missed half the season. So he didn't put up the numbers he did his rookie season. So there's a lot on his plate right now, trying to stay healthy. So I'm looking at Devontae Adams to be the leader here, to be the deep man downfield for Stafford. Also, I'm looking at Puka Nakua to be like the short slanted, maybe razzle dazzle reverse, third down running back. I mean, they could use him as a slant on the outside, inside, quick pick draws, even downfield if they need to. But I think the roles will change here with Devontae Adams on this team, and look for him to be the leader of this team. Not this team, but the leader of this receiver core, because he is a long time veteran. He's played with good quarterbacks. He's played with Aaron Rodgers. He's played with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now he's playing with another great quarterback, Matthew Stafford. So we've seen Stafford. He's made receivers very, very legendary. We go back to the years when he had with Megatron, Calvin Johnson, how he made him a Hall of Famer. Look
Mm.
how he made Cooper Cup a deadly receiver downfield. We saw that in the playoff run when these two were together, Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup, they were sharing the ball. One guy would go, the other guy would go. Now Cooper Cup's gone. This is Puka Nakua's receiving core, but you also have a legendary receiver in my mind in Devontae Adams, who brings a lot of experience to this table. So look for him to be the number one receiver and Puka Nakua to be the number two guy, maybe for third down purposes.
Yeah, you can't forget about Tutu Outwill speed. We could get him a long throw, catch everybody off guard because Devontae Adams and Puka's gonna have many eyes on that defensive side of the opponent we're playing. So I'm excited for Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, and even Konato Muffield, who had a touchdown in his preseason. We didn't use him as much, but I feel like we're gonna have a great offensive.
Well, again, keep in mind though too, Tutu Evo had to sign a year, which was
Yeah,
very very concerning for us, and now this is a big year for him because he did get an extension on his contract, so he's gonna have to play. Otherwise, he's gonna be showing the door out at the end of the season, or maybe throughout the season with trades. Who knows?
no, I
So
like
it
Tutu
depends
Atwell
on
as a
how they
sleeper
use him this season
weapon.
too, as well.
Yeah, for sure, partner. You're right about that, but we'll
But
see how that
with Tutu Atwell's size up partner, I would see the Rams use him as again maybe
deep
razzle
and
dazzle, maybe running plays.
that too.
Maybe he can line up in the backfield position, get a couple reps at running back because he does have the speed. Also, he could be one of those receivers that blocks to set up screens, set up
I can see that.
slants, even set up the deep pass. So I mean,
A deep
they're
pass
just
for
gonna have
sure.
to find other ways to use number five.
Yeah, I love the running. We could one little slant could break him out, and with his speed, he could just outrun all the defense. So that's what I
But I
love.
believe, yeah, but I agree though with you too as well. This is a big year for him, and the
Yeah.
microscope is going to be under him at least for the first 6 weeks, until that trade deadline gets passed.
I'm making a bold prediction. The first 2 weeks, we're gonna see a 50-yard bomb by Tutu Atwell for the touchdown by Stafford or Jimmy. Let's go. Let's get the defense.
But though, but here's my take though. He
Go
has
for
to
it.
step up because again, if he doesn't, he may be out of this team come week 6 by the trade deadline.
Damn, I wouldn't love
And
to see that.
we've seen the Rams partner in recent years do trades at the deadline. We saw what they did this Super Bowl year, where they brought in Von Miller, they brought in Odell Beckham to win the Super Bowl. And we've
Right.
seen what they did in years past, where they bring in Brandon Cooks, they brought in Sammy Watkins, they brought in Dominic Sue or Clay Matthews, anything like that. So they're known to make moves at the deadline. So let's see how this will affect his performance the first 6 weeks of the season.
Let's get it, partner. Let's get it now to our defensive side.
And we didn't talk about the defense much, but defense pretty much played well as expected in the last game against the Cleveland Browns.
And that was our second, third stringers. And today's practice went very good with the defense, as we were actually sacking and putting pressure on Stafford. That's what I like. You know, you got to get him in that season form. Yeah, he has that big back injury, but it's looking well as of now.
Well, as much as I like to see the defense perform well in practice, I would prefer they do it on other quarterbacks instead of our own. You know, it's good. Stay with that.
The way we were playing in the preseason, man, our defense was doing some insane hits. I loved it though. But like you said, yeah, we'll save that for the season on other quarterbacks.
Yeah,
But
it's like in practice. I did this. I heard this in high school when I used to play. You know, it's like, yeah, we want to hit people, but you don't want to hit your own guy.
yeah, that's for
Like, you're
sure.
supposed to hit the other team, not your teammate.
Yeah, then there's been a lot of rumors about Emmanuel Forbes, who we signed last year. There's a lot of speculation about his physical appearance, but I think he's a good player, you know. It took him time to like put in work when he was with the Washington Commanders slash Redskins, but now with the Rams, I think he's gonna earn more playing time this year. As today practice, he even beat Tutu Atwell, one of the fastest players in the NFL, on a deep route, which is pretty impressive coming from Emmanuel Forbes. And he also
Yeah, I'm gonna look at
Adams a couple times on those quick throws.
Yeah, if they're doing this well against the good receivers, then they should be able to do this against the other best receivers out there in the NFL. And we do know there's a lot of them out there,
And I think,
including one Jamar Chase.
yeah, I think that's our weakest position in my opinion. What you think? The CB
The
role for
defense,
defense.
the defense has always been a problem for the Rams.
The CB,
They
right?
haven't been able to protect well when it comes to deep ball passing. They've always had problems sustaining momentum, and they also have problems getting off the field on third down. We've seen a lot of this last year. The problems where they just couldn't get off the field where they needed it, whether it was like a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 5, even a 3rd and 3, even sometimes when it's third down and 20 yards to go. We've seen this team give up a lot of yards and stay on the field, which really caused them to get tired out. It put much pressure on the offense. So I'm looking at the defense as they have to step up here with the young players that they have. And there shouldn't be any type of exhausted reason that they're tired, because these guys are young. This is a young defense.
Yeah, it's a young squad.
So
Yeah,
you have to one thing Chris Shula is going to have to work on with his defense is get off the field when you need it.
yeah.
Keep the other team's defense on the field. That's how you win the
Get
game,
them
by
tired.
tiring
Yeah,
up the other defense.
yeah. I love that. I love that strategy. I always love that strategy. Getting the defense tired and just keep going, keep pressuring, keep
Because
pressure.
a good look partner, a good defense can play good for a whole game, but the question is, can they maintain that gas? We've seen it where they did. The Rams defense had played well, but the gas was just too much. And as we saw in the playoff game against the Eagles, they had opportunities to get off the field, but Barkley just ran over them, and that's what really did them in.
Yeah, and hopefully this year we stop all that, and that's not gonna happen no more. Especially versus the Eagles, they're getting payback.
That'll be a big matchup, though. I do agree with you on that. That's why we move along here on the program.
Week 1 around the corner, partner. We're down to 13 days. Tomorrow will be 12 days from the week 1 opening season at SoFi Stadium. Your Los Angeles Rams
That's right.
versus
That's
the
right. The Rams will be playing the Texans on September 7th at SoFi Stadium, the home opener for Los Angeles.
Will that be on prime time? No, right, partner? That's the 1 p.m. game
I
at SoFi.
believe that'll be a Fox. It'll be on
Yeah,
Fox
Fox for sure.
as a
Fox
late game.
ABC 7. I'm not very sure, but I believe ABC 7 for sure. And what you think about this, partner? Let's give you our bold prediction right now. Rams win or tie close game. What you thinking?
But before we do get into our predictions, we do want to
Right.
announce that on that day, there's going to be a giveaway, partner. There's going to be a scheduled magnet, Vamos Rams in
Ooh.
Spanish, and it's gonna give out the schedule. So if you attend the game on September 7th, you will get something like that, a magnet. So make sure you collect it and keep a schedule of your favorite team, which is your Los Angeles Rams.
This is one game I have to go to. We never done this before. We never done giveaways like this. We're gonna give away a Aaron Donald bobblehead on November 23 versus the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah, and then you look at the on the 28th against the Colts, they're gonna do a exclusive trading card pack. You
I
know,
love
with you see the pictures, Devontae Adams and others. You know, that's gonna be an interesting game right there too. You should definitely check that one out. And also, on in November, which we do celebrate the military during November because of Veterans Day, they're doing a military heroes apron presented by Verizon on November 2nd against the New Orleans Saints. So veterans, if you have served our country or currently serving our country, you got to get out there and be honored because you guys deserve more honor for
Thank
fighting
you
for
for
our
your
country.
service. Yup, that's a
Yes,
great month
indeed.
to support veterans, militaries, everybody. I love how they do that every year, and I even have my own little military Rams hat I gotta rep. So that'll be a good day. And the next one.
Before now we continue here on the program, let's talk about you mentioned the predictions. What's your prediction on this one?
I think this is an easy Rams victory, partner. Today, as I mentioned earlier, Houston Texans will be without their superstar running back, Joe Mixon. So the Texans might have to practice these next 2 weeks about how they're gonna do that run game. If not, it's gonna be tough for them to open that throwing scheme because you need to open that running game to get that throwing scheme going, especially with CJ Stroud. He has a running ability to get out the pocket and use his legs, but I think we're gonna stop that from happening.
Well, I wouldn't call it an easy picking apart because the Texans are a good team. They are a playoff team. They
Yeah.
won the division last year. They did beat the
They have a great
Chargers
defense
in
as
the
well.
divisional round. Of course, they are going to be missing some key players. Also, their wide receiver who was injured in the divisional round against Kansas City. That was a very nasty injury. And then again, you mentioned the running back position is going to be questioned. But again, it's C.J. Stroud. He's a good quarterback. He's going to have some weapons. I believe Cat Makers is on this team. Also, they have Robert Woods, an ex-Ram, so you may want to watch out for that. But that defense is also pretty much dangerous. So the Rams offense is gonna have to protect Stafford because again, he hasn't practiced much. He didn't play in the preseason. He is gonna be rusty. He hasn't played in over 8 months. So the very key point for the Rams here is they have to run the ball. You have to get Kyron Williams involved early. The line has to open up the holes for him. He's got to control the football. He's got to hold on to it. Cannot fumble it. He's going to have to do everything in the beginning because it's going to take about a half for Matthew Stafford to get that rhythm back. He's not going to get it back right away because he's rusty. Also, when you got a guy dealing with a back issue, it's pretty much dangerous because, again, one hit can really damage everything. So biggest pressure of this game will be the Rams line, the running game, and the defense. Can they keep CJ Stroud on that sideline for a long period of time? Because if they can do that, they have a better chance to win against the
Yeah,
Texans.
and CJ Stroud is coming back to his hometown, Rancho Cucamonga, around LA. He grew up with Snoop Dogg's football team, in which a lot of NFL players made it. So I got to give CJ Stroud his credit. And that defense, like you mentioned, you can't forget about that defense. And you're right, partner. I think the first week is gonna be kind of sloppy. You know, it's the first game in a while. A lot of starters didn't play in that spring training, off season, spring. So I feel like it could be a sloppy game, low scoring game, but we'll see in 13 days.
Yeah, 13 days to go before the season opener. Looking for, as you see, our 2025 home opponents.
I
As you
see a
see, the
lot of our
Texans are
division
there.
games there. That's a lot of division games.
Yes, we have the Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals coming in. We also have Detroit, who's lost to the Rams, or who's the Rams lost to twice already. They beat him 2 straight times. We got Tampa Bay coming home. Baker Mayfield making his homecoming game. He was a Ram. Again, he also owes Sean McVay a gratitude because for picking him up, he was able to, re-energize his career because his career was going on a down path.
I think it was his career was already over, but
I
McVay,
mean, you look what he's been through though. He went to Cleveland. They figured he'd be the franchise quarterback. He did lead them to the playoffs, but then they picked up Deshaun Watson, and then there was a bit of a controversy there. They decided to go with Watson and cast out Baker Mayfield. He went to Carolina, and it was a bad experience. The Panthers waived him, but here's the thing: the 49ers were going to get him until the Rams picked him up. And guess what? He led the Rams to a couple wins in that injured season, and it got the attention of Tampa Bay. And since Tom Brady retired, Baker has taken them to the playoffs twice.
been great, and he
So
has
they
the
got a
weapon.
future in Mayfield.
Yeah, so they're sticking with him. So that's gonna be
And then
another.
you look at the Saints. Saints are coming in, and so are the Indianapolis Colts. So very, very suitable home schedule. I think they can have a winning record with this. But the one iffy one is the road games. Is you see the teams are playing on the road. Again, the division always a tough one, no matter who it is. Carolina, that should be a winnable one because they're in a rebuilding phase. And then you have Atlanta,
That's the
who
team.
might be good. And then you also have Raheem Morris, who's a coach there, who was your former defensive coordinator. So that's a challenge. And then you have the defending champion Eagles, rematch of the playoff match. Jacksonville, who's rebuilding as well. Trevor Lawrence is coming back from a injured season. So let's see how that goes. They got the Tennessee Titans, who also on a rebuilding period. But then the tough one will be right there, the Baltimore Ravens. The last time these two teams played, it went down to overtime, kickoff or a punt return, gave the Ravens a win against the Rams. A couple years before that, the Rams beat the Ravens with an Odell Beckham pass from Matthew Stafford in the closing seconds to beat the Ravens. So Rams have won there before, but again, it's a tough. They did look. Give them credit. They played them tough 2 years ago, with the injuries, and that was during their slow start too. They were like getting back up there, but
Yeah,
the teams that I see tough in this schedule are, of course, the division teams because they're always tough no matter who it is. San Francisco, they always give them trouble. Now we got Seattle with Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold. Let's see how good they are, and then Arizona's in a rebuilding period, but they still are very, very talented. And you got Atlanta, who's going up there, and then you have the champions, and then the Ravens. So those are like six opponents I'm really concerned for.
yeah. From my viewing, besides the division rivals, I'll say the Ravens, Eagles, and Lions. Lions is always since that playoff run when they hurt our players to Jared Goff, still talking about the Rams to him coming back to LA. I feel like that should be included as well. But I believe the first couple weeks we get the Eagles and Ravens out the way, so it's gonna be pretty
Well, let me ask you about the Lions, though. Let me ask you about the Lions. We've been hearing stories about Jared Goff still being hurt about this trade.
yeah.
Will beating the Rams one more time really end it for him? Like, will this be in the burn under the rug, or is this something that constantly we're going to keep hearing? Because again, many people don't think Detroit is going to be that good because they lost a lot of key elements of that team. Their coordinators are gone. Aaron Glenn is now coaching in New York. Their offensive coordinator too, he's gone. So I don't know if they're going to be a tough opponent this year because they got exposed badly against Washington last year. So many teams may already have a formula to stop Jared Goff. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if this is going to be the same, lethal offense that we saw the last couple of years.
Okay, I see there. Yeah, you're right about that one. We'll see what they could come back. They lost a lot of players. We'll see. We're just gonna have to see on that one, partner. But it's gonna be a great season. I see a winning record for sure, 100%. And hopefully we start off fresh and just go crazy since week one and just stay healthy.
Perfect. And I believe is this the last segment of the program, or do we have another segment?
Yes, sir, partner. That's the last slide of today's show.
All right. So again, that brings us to a close of another episode here on Rams Talk. But we did provide the updates, and of course, we're hoping that Stafford is ready. And partner, do you have any last words before we go off the air?
No, just another great show down in the books. We covered the post game show about the Browns of the Rams, a little bit, 5 takeaways about what happened during that game, and talk a little bit about our 2025 opponents, a little bit of our offensive side, defensive side, Stafford updates. Yeah, keep liking, keep sharing, keep supporting us. Make sure to like, view, subscribe, and I'm ready for Rams season.
Yeah, me too. And then before we go, we do want to, on a serious note, we do want to extend a get well soon to our other friend, our co-host Sean Quinn, who's usually joins us on our other programming. He has been ill lately. He did test positive for the COVID-19, so he has been quarantined and trying to get better. So we do want to send our thoughtful wishes to him. Hopefully, he gets healed soon, and we would love to have him here on the program. So, Sean, if you're watching, get well soon. Can't wait to see you, and hope to see you soon here on Rams Talk.
Let's go, partner. Any final words from you?
Well, great show. We got some good things coming up, and also we also are making preparations about going to SoFi to do a live segment. So hopefully we're in the works of that. Hopefully we can get that finalized
That's
and report from the field as well.
Yeah, that's the goal this year. Start bringing our talent on the road, get some passes. Shout out to every Rams NFL reporter out there giving us the exclusive news on practice. The Rams overall, just shout out to you guys. Shout out to Rams NFL. Follow them on other social media platforms. Rams NFL, Rams Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any social media. Go support our Rams because it's always Rams house all day. And it's just excited, partner. Just excited for this year.
Yeah, we also want to thank Coach Sean McVay for his views on today's topics as well. Again, he's got a rough 24 hours, as the deadline comes. Again, stay with us as we'll provide you updates, and then feel free to comment anytime. So if you did miss this, we will be on YouTube. Again, subscribe and listen. And again, as we always say, what's the famous line?
Another day, another podcast.
All right, for Jesus Maya, I am Edward Rientalso. We thank you for joining us on Ram Talk. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good evening.
Peace.